I'm going to Ralakung in time for their Losar celebrations, which is on the 20th. I reached Ralakung Phima on the next day and stayed at the home of Achoo Mutup. He's a warm, friendly person, and I always feel comfortable staying with his family. He's also a good cook, and I had some very good food during my stay with them at Ralakung Phima. Unlike many other villages of Zanskar, the people of Ralakung still keep many goats and sheep in their homes, and each household in the village takes turns to take out the animals to graze every day. Although the animals are taken out to graze every day, there is not much grass in the mountains during the winter months to provide sufficient nutrition to the animals. So the villagers give extra food to the animals every evening when they return home from grazing. The sheep and goats are fed a liquid containing a mixture of barley flour and leftover food from their kitchens. And the villagers stock up large quantities of grass on their rooftops that they give to all their animals every evening. A couple of days later, on January 20th, it was the day of Losar, the New Year day for the people of Ladakh and Zanskar. The villagers have various traditions to welcome their New Year. One of the major traditions is the preparation of figurines called larkin using flour to represent the various animals that are important in the lives of the villagers. कुत्ता है फिर कितना लरखन बनेगा टोटल घर में कितना घर में तो बहुत थे हाँ उतना नहीं बनेगा उनमें मेन हाँ फिर था चार बनेगा घोड़ा चार कुत्ता एक बनेगा पिशी एक चामो नहीं बनाते बनाते The Lurkin range from wild animals that are found in the mountains, like ibex and blue sheep, to the domestic animals in their homes, like goats and sheep, cows, yaks, horses, and even dogs and cats. One of the unique Losar traditions that I've seen only in Ralakung is for the villagers to apply color to their sheep and goats on the Losar day. Each household paint their animals in a different color, so it is probably a way for the villagers to identify their animals from those belonging to their neighbors. And New Year Losar Day is probably a good day for the villagers to apply a fresh coat of paint to their animals.
Itu malah katanya. Simpel. Bakar apa buat pada itu? Jangan.
On the evening of Losar, everyone in the village gathered together for the Losar party. There was good food, followed by singing and dancing, accompanied by a lot of chung. It started snowing as everyone was returning back to their homes after the Losar party. The people of Ladakh say that it snows a little during Losar day, and this year was no exception. It snowed all through the night and well into the next day. Even though it was snowing, the villagers still had to send their animals out to graze. The cattle are generally set loose to graze by themselves, and as for the sheep and goats, somebody from the village had to take them out to graze and keep an eye on them to prevent wild animals like wolves from attacking them under the cover of the snowfall.
Oh.
The village I was staying at, Ralakung Phima, had 4 households, and they all looked spectacular after a fresh coat of snow. Beyond the mountain above Ralakung Phima, separated by a small pass, lies his sister village, Ralakung Nagma. I had always wanted to visit Ralakung Nagma, and I got my chance a couple of days after the snowfall. Achoo Mutup had left one of his cattle to graze in Ralakung Nagma, and after the snowfall, he had to bring it back as all the grass in the mountains were buried under the snow. On the way, we met Gurmat, who came from the faraway Junction village. Gurmat had left his cattle to graze in the mountains surrounding Ralakung. And now that the mountains were covered by snow, he came to collect them from both Ralakung Phima and Nagma and take them back to Junction. We were joined by a couple of lamas who were going to the Ralakung Nagma village to conduct some prayers there. So all of us sat together to cross the Ralakung Pass and go towards the Nagma village. There was a lot of snow after we crossed the pass and descended down towards Ralakung Nagma. It was a lot of fun descending down the snow-covered slopes towards the Ralakung Nagma village. After about 3 hours of hiking, we finally reached the Nagma village and stopped at one of the homes for some tea. Unlike Ralakung Phima, where the households are all scattered far apart, the houses in Ralakung Nagma were all located close to each other, and I actually liked the setup a lot and found the Ralakung Nagma village to be much more beautiful than Ralakung Phima. The next morning, Achoo, Mutup and Gurmet set off with their cattle towards their respective villages. While Achoo Mutup had only one cow to take back to his home, Gurmet had a lot of cattle to take back to Junction, and he had one of his relatives from Ralakung Nagma accompany him for part of the way. We stopped for a break at a place called Penang Sumdo, where the trail splits towards Ralakung Phima, and we made some tea before saying goodbye to Gurmat, who was going downstream all the way towards Junction. To go to Ralakung Phima, we had to cross the stream coming down from Ralakung Nagma and go up a side valley up along a stream coming down from Ralakung Phima. The days following the snowfall were very cold, and the streams had now frozen and water was now flowing above the ice. This made it very difficult to cross the streams without getting my feet wet. The villagers were wearing knee-high gum boots, whereas I was wearing my leather hiking boots, and it was a huge challenge for me to cross the streams without getting my feet wet.
ये ठीक नहीं यहाँ पता नहीं मुझे पता नहीं हाँ हाँ ओह नहीं है ओह ओह पानी बहुत है हाँ क्या ये नहीं है अंदर जाएगा अयो
I enjoyed the hike back to Ralakung Phima immensely, especially once the stream crossings were over, and walking through the snow-covered landscape was a lot of fun. The fun did not last very long though, as I caught a viral fever soon after I returned back to Ralakung Phima, and I had to spend the next week nursing a terrible cough that lingered even after I recovered from the fever. "15 days after I first arrived at Ralakung, Phima, I was ready to go back. The water in the streams were flowing below the ice again, which made it easier to cross them, and thus it was the right time for me to leave. I was joined by Savang, the son of Achoo Mutup. Savang was returning back to Padum to start his winter tuition classes, so he acted as my guide, showing me the best places to cross the streams. On the way, we met some medical workers who were coming from Padum to check the outbreak of viral fever that affected both the Phima and Nagma villages and distribute medicine to the affected people.
गांव में आप सर्दियों में क्या है कि आप देखो कोई सारे कमरे बंद करके खिड़की बंद करके सारे इकट्ठे रहते हैं और सोशल लाइफ आपको पता है ना, सारे इकट्ठे रहते हैं तो एक को थोड़ा जुकाम हो जाएगा तो सबको लग जाता है जल्दी है ना वायरल, तो इस करके है वहाँ थोड़ा सा, तो उसके लिए हम जा रहे हैं.
It was nerve-wracking to cross the stream at some places. The good thing was that the water was flowing under the ice, but the bad thing was that I had to walk on the ice to cross the streams. The ice was slippery, and one wrong step would have me falling straight into the stream. So I was very careful while walking on the ice and safely made all the crossings. Sevang, on the other hand, did not have any misgivings about walking on the ice, having done it all through his life. But he was also not immune to the slippery ice and fell down once,
ओ भैया टूट तो नहीं गया.
demonstrating why it is always prudent to be careful while walking on the ice. We reached the junction village by late afternoon and went to Padum the next morning. I still had the cough after reaching Padum, so I spent the next 1 week camping in my car and resting, hoping that I would recover from the cough. Hot water feels so good for the cough. Hello everyone. Today is Sunday, January 11th. Exactly 1 week after I left Ralakung and I came to Padum. I thought that resting in my car and taking rest will help me, get over the cough. But even after a week, the cough is not gone because the nights are so cold. It's freezing. That whenever I take a breath, all the freezing air goes inside, and just keeps the cough going. So I decided to go to Lee today. It will be much warmer there, and hopefully the warm weather should help me get over the cough. Anyway, let's go.
Please don't put seatbelt.